Hello guys and welcome to another video. So this is part 2 of responding to you guys' unpopular bookish opinions. Just another disclaimer, this is my opinion, your opinion is your opinion, and I value it. Thank you for commenting. If I say you're right or wrong, that's completely subjective and it's just a joke, guys. But yeah, I'm right, you're wrong, shut up. So let's go. Next up we have, I also read the endings of books, and I guess you mean that you read them before you start the book. And to this I say, my friend McKenna does the same thing. We're working through it, but McKenna, I can't believe people do that. I must admit that for a while there, when I was a beginner reader, a couple of years ago, I did used to read the last sentence of a book before starting it, but I've stopped it because there are many books that completely spoil it if you read the last sentence, either because it's like a character is dead or character isn't dead, and those are very important things to not get spoiled about. So please stop doing it. You're wrong. It's not the way to do it. At the end of the day, it's worse for you, so there's like no benefits to it. Next up we have, I love The Hunger Games and Catching Fire, but I really dislike the third book, Mockingjay. And to this I say, you're kind of right. I loved The Hunger Games I loved The Hunger Games so much with all of my heart. And then when I read Catching Fire, I loved it even more because I was so invested in the characters, and because the first half of the book really focuses it on Katniss and Peeta's relationship. The whole thing with the sprained ankle just like gave me life every time I reread it. And they're together all throughout the Hunger Games, which they weren't in the first book. So we get a lot of content from them, and I love that. But when we got to the third book, it's more focused on the war and it's slower. We spend a lot of time on District 13, a lot of time without Peeta, a lot of time with just Katniss being depressed by herself, which isn't bad, but it's not what I was looking for. So I agree, it's probably the weakest and the worst book out of the three, but I don't think it's in any ways a bad book. I think the other ones are 5 out of 5 stars, and this one is just like 3.5 to 4 out of 5 stars. I'd have to reread it to grade it accurately. Next up we have, enemies to lovers trope is rarely executed well and is overrated. There are way better romance tropes that aren't overused and have way more opportunities. People think that writing a bond where the two characters don't have the best relationship is automatically becomes a good enemies to lovers. Enemies do not equal people who just slightly dislike and mock each other. And I completely agree. I think the enemies to lovers trope is like used very lightly because it's not usually like that. It's usually more haters to lovers, like in The Hating Game. That's a clear example of haters to lovers. Enemies to lovers, I would say maybe Bellamy and Clark in The 100, because they have to work together, but they're clearly enemies in episodes 1 through 5 at least. But it's not usually done well. Even if it's done well, it's not my favorite trope. I like rivals to lovers more, because if it's enemies to lovers, then they have to go through a lot of good development and really hard character development for me to believe that two people who were actual enemies can end up becoming romantic lovers. So I agree, it's usually not done the best and not in a believable way. So you're actually right. Most people are actually just like haters or rivals to lovers when they claim to be enemies to lovers. And then, historical fiction is one of the best genres. I can't say if you're wrong or right, I can just say that I wouldn't know because I don't read historical fiction. So, I guess Jane Austen is historical fiction, but it wasn't meant to be at the time, so is it historical fiction? I don't know, so I'm just gonna say, eh. Next up we have, I think that the ending of Ruin and Rising was overrated. I honestly didn't think it was that interesting, and also Alina shouldn't have ended up with anyone. So to this I say, you're probably right. I didn't know it was overrated because I didn't know people liked it that much. I leave the link up here to my reading blog. I actually read most of Ruin and Rising in one night. So it was exciting for me because I was finally finishing the series that I hadn't really liked. And it was a lot of adrenaline for me because reading it in one night made it the best book for me out of the whole series. But if you ask me, I do not remember the climax very well. Honestly, I could not tell you what happened in that climax. So you're probably right. I don't know if it's overrated, but it's just not that good. Also, if Alina hadn't ended up with anyone, I would be happy too. Like, you already saved the world. Do you really need to choose who you're gonna spend the rest of your life with at 17? Then we have one that I 100% agree with, and it's that Harry Potter and Percy Jackson should not be compared. They were both amazing in their own ways. And I 100% agree. You are right. Well done, good stuff. I hate it when they compare them because, okay, they do go to like a magical school where they train, and they're both like guys who started out being like around 12, and they have black hair and green eyes, and it's action adventure with magic. But everything else is completely different. Yes, there is a main trio, but they're super, super different. The format of the books are even different. One takes place in like the school year, and it's super like long, and it focuses on the school a lot. And then Percy Jackson takes place over the summer, and it's like a quest. It's a road trip adventure. So besides what I said at the beginning, I don't think they should be compared at all. They're also like kind of the same demographics, but like, you can't compare the two. Why would you? They're both good on their own rights. So I don't know why people from those fandoms hate each other so much. Like, I'm kind of in both fandoms. I've read both series and I've loved both of them. So I don't know why we can't just get along. Why can't you appreciate that they're different and love their differences and similarities as well? Do people that hate the other fandoms, have they actually read the books? Like, I don't know. I mean, you have your right to not like Harry Potter or Percy Jackson if you want, but why do you hate it so much? What's wrong with you? Why do you have to hate things? Next up is Red, White, and Royal Blue is so boring, I stopped halfway through. And to this I say, oh my darling, you couldn't be more wrong. I'm just really shocked reading this. Like, if you don't know, Red, White, and Royal Blue was one of my favorite books that I read last year. It, like, right after reading it, it went on to my all-time favorite contemporary books. It's so good. I like it so much. The couple in it is everything, and I love the writing, I love the plot, I love the characters. It's incredible. So to have someone say that it's boring, I don't understand. I mean, obviously you're entitled to your own opinion, and obviously not every book is for everyone. I get it, but what? What? So, I don't know. I honestly don't know what to tell you. We clearly have very different tastes. Someone said, I hate Lord of the Rings. And I personally haven't read it, but I have watched the movies, which I know doesn't say anything. But, I mean, I like them. I like the characters, and I like the plot, and I like the world. But I get why someone would hate them, even if I haven't read them. Because in my opinion, the fact that there's only 3 characters that are important, that are women, and that they don't talk to each other at all throughout the 3 movies, and I'm pretty sure the 3 books, and that 2 of them are in love with the same male character, and their whole character basically revolves around him. It's pretty sad. And you're like, it's a product of its time. Well, even back then, women existed. So I don't know how you can tolerate that, because I can't. So I would say I agree, but I haven't read the book, so I don't know if you're right or wrong. Next up is Harry Potter honestly isn't that good. Like, it's a great series, but there are definitely better ones. People shouldn't ignore what J.K. Rowling is doing just to hold on to the nostalgia. And to this I say, you're completely right. I completely agree. So some people make Harry Potter all of their personality. And honestly, that sounds hypocritical coming from me, because obviously I'm a Percy Jackson booktuber, but Percy Jackson isn't my whole personality. I don't go out to people and I'm like, well, I'm cabin 3, what are you? Like, a lot of people go out with their Hogwarts houses. It's not my whole personality. I haven't based my whole room aesthetic around Percy Jackson. And a lot of people have done that for Harry Potter. And I agree, it's a good series. I really enjoyed it when I read it. But I don't think it's as good as some people claim that it is. It's not because I'm a Percy Jackson fan. This is solely from my Potterhead perspective, because I am. I just don't think it's as great as people think that it is. Like, I think the nostalgia has blown it up to like another level that maybe it doesn't deserve to be at. And honestly, a lot of people are forgetting who J.K. Rowling is, and they're just like letting go because of the nostalgia. And sometimes you can let things go, people. Nostalgia isn't everything. people should stop saying Rick Riordan has such great representation, because a lot of times it's problematic. Like, he tries, but it doesn't always work out good. I chose to read this one because it's the perfect example to show you guys that I'm not a hypocrite, because obviously I'm a Percy Jackson fan and I'm a Rick Riordan fan, but I agree with you. Honestly, I can't really speak to how good the representation is because I'm a white woman, so I can only speak for the representation of women, and that's usually like average. It's okay, I don't have too many complaints here, but I know there's a lot of people who complain about the representation in Heroes of Olympus because he did try to add it, but he's still a white cis hetero man, so I can see why people wouldn't think it's like perfect representation or even good representation. You would have to look for someone who is actually represented in those books and ask them if it's good representation, because obviously I can't speak for them. But I think the fact that he has a sensitivity reader for his next upcoming book, Daughter of the Deep, because it has an Indian main character, is a good sign. So at least he's trying, is all I have to say about that. And they also said, I think one book isn't long enough for an enemies to lovers arc. Like, maybe if it's longish book, like 400 pages or more, but I think it works better in a series. And I absolutely 100% agree with you. You are completely right. I'm loving your unpopular opinions, by the way. I completely agree. I love slow burn if it's enemies to lovers. I'm specifically thinking if it happened in a show, it would have to happen over the course of like 3 to 4 seasons. I know that seems like a lot, but that's what I want. I'm thinking specifically of Bellamy and Clark from The 100 and Keith and Lance from Voltron. That would have been like the perfect thing for me, because I love slow burn, and if it's enemies to lovers or haters to lovers, there's a lot of chemistry there and pent up feelings, so it works really well for a slow burn. So I 100% agree. And your last one is I hate Installa. That's not really an unpopular opinion, but I don't think, but yeah, it's not an unpopular opinion. I feel like a lot of people think that, and I just said I love slow burn, so it's pretty clear that I agree with you. My friend McKenna says, I don't think Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing is very special at all. And to that I say, is this a personal attack or something, McKenna? You're wrong. I'm sorry, but you're wrong. This is my YouTube channel and I can say whatever I want. I think you're wrong. I think her writing is really good. Honestly, I think what's the best about her books are her characters and her plot, but her writing is really good as well. So that's what I think. Yeah, so that's pretty much everything I have for you guys today. Please leave a like if you liked this video and comment down below if you think I'm right or I'm wrong about these unpopular opinions. Please be nice about it. Please. Yeah, and go follow me on Instagram, because next time I do one of these or do a poll or something like that, I'm probably gonna do it on Instagram just so it's more accessible to more of you guys, because I know that on some tablets, iPads, or phones, you can't see the community tab. So I'm gonna try this out. So please go follow me on Instagram. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't already and click that bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And that's very frequently here on my channel, so I guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye!